Coming up on Mountain News this morning, hunters need to stay on high alert as another deer tested positive for chronic wasting disease. Plus, a kinship care law is having trouble finding financial support months after lawmakers almost unanimously passed it.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Madison Carmouche. We are at that 5:30 mark this Thursday morning, and today is October 24th. Let's send it over to meteorologist Megan Desmal for a look at your forecast this morning. Megan, we're all pink and cheery.
We sure are, and so's the weather. That's something to look forward to, right?
That's a good one, yes.
Well, right now, looking at that satellite, we're staying nice and clear today. There isn't much going on, maybe some clouds as you're heading into the afternoon, but overall, it's going to be a nice morning. Not much fog will be an issue either as you're driving in and out of your house this morning, but those current temperatures will be a little chilly, so maybe a light jacket or a cardigan is needed as you're heading outside of the door this morning. 50 degrees for Hazard, 52 for Somerset. And a little bit cooler as you're heading to Manchester, 45 degrees. But these temperatures will be increasing to your forecast highs for your Thursday, really looking in the upper 60s. Some places could be seeing that 70-degree mark hit, so we're not that much colder than we were yesterday. And in fact, temperatures will be increasing yet again to the 70s for your tomorrow. But back to today, really just looking for those sunny skies throughout the day. Sunrise will be at 7:51 a.m. and I'll have your ARH 7-day forecast in just a couple of minutes. Madison.
All right, Megan, thank you. Last week, the Department of Agriculture confirmed that another deer from Kentucky tested positive for chronic wasting disease. So what exactly is this disease? The Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife says the disease is a fatal neurological disease that affects members of the deer family. In situations where someone could consume meat affected by the disease, zones are created to monitor any additional cases, and there are regulations enforced within the zone.
Can't take deer from the zone out, and that the intent of that is to try to prohibit the spread should this be more widespread than we realize.
Another rule within these zones is you cannot bait deer. Gabe Jenkins of the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife says these steps are necessary regardless of the impact to hunters. It has been more than 1 week since early voting started in Tennessee. As of Monday, the Secretary of State's office says more than 820,000 Tennesseans have cast a ballot. And a couple of East Tennessee counties are standing out. Unicoi and Loudoun counties are leading the state in voter turnout percentage with the highest and second highest turnout. However, Sevier, Union, Campbell, and Hancock counties are all in the bottom 10 for turnout. A few election reminders. The general election is on November 5th. Tuesday was the final day to request a mail-in absentee ballot in Kentucky. Excused in-person absentee voting is available and will continue today through Friday, as well as next week on October 29th and 30th. No excuse in-person early voting will take place on October 31st, November 1st, and 2nd. Democratic vice presidential candidate Tim Walz was in Louisville yesterday evening. He was there for a short time and attended a campaign reception where he was expected to address donors and other campaign supporters. I-65 northbound was shut down for the visit. Walz is heading to North Carolina and Pennsylvania next. The U.S. Postal Service is talking about its efforts to successfully deliver election mail through the November 5th presidential vote. The USPS says it has more than enough operational capacity to deliver the nation's ballots in the final weeks of the 2024 election. In a virtual event Wednesday, officials shared details on steps they are taking to ensure that election-related mail is delivered on time and securely.
We've made significant investments in enhancing the Postal Service's delivery security in its network, including installation of new high-security collection boxes, electronic locks, a number of measures that help ensure the security of all mail, including ballots and other election mail.
The Postal Service says in the 2020 general election and the 2022 midterms, more than 99% of mailed ballots were delivered to election officials within 7 days. The Justice Department has warned Elon Musk that his $1 million sweepstakes for swing state voters may violate federal election law. Musk's offer says that people who sign a petition in support of the First and Second Amendments will enter a random daily drawing for $1 million prize. But to sign the petition, you must be registered to vote in certain states. And federal law prohibits paying people to register to vote. A new law is waiting to be enforced months after the bill was passed earlier this year. Senate Bill 151 would support children being cared for by relatives other than their own parents, providing more options and resources to those families. Despite its almost unanimous support from lawmakers this spring, the steps to implement the new law have not been taken. Now questions linger over whether there is enough money to support the program.
That funding was not made available. So at this time, we are still hopeful in the near future that there will be an additional pathway for funding of Senate Bill 151. But without that support, the cabinet will have difficulty moving forward with implementation.
Cabinet officials estimate it would cost $20 million to implement the new law. The Lecher County Fiscal Court is receiving a $3.3 million grant from the Abandoned Mine Lands Economic Revitalization Program. The funding will go toward building a waste digester system. Those involved in the project say this is similar to a composter. Jeffrey Justice with Pine Mountain Partnership says the grant will help the economy in Lecher County.
So what this will do will allow us to take other communities' solid waste as well and end up making money. So the ratepayer in Lecher County will not bear the burden of the entire expense.
Justice says the goal is to complete the project within the next 2 or 3 years. Up to 10 new jobs could also be added to the community. One company which manufactures equipment for emergency vehicles and other components used in law enforcement and EMS plans to expand its presence in Pulaski County. Governor Beshear announced Ridget Network LLC is broadening its presence with a $1.2 million expansion, which will create 20 additional full-time jobs. The new facility will allow Ridget to triple its production of upfitted vehicles and quadruple its warehouse space. And here's what Governor Andy Beshear had to say about the expansion. This expansion is a great announcement for Pulaski County and the Science Hill community. I want to thank the company's leadership for their continued support and look forward to seeing years of their future success here in the Commonwealth. The city of Pikeville recently announced changes to the traffic pattern in one of its busiest areas. For drivers on Cassidy Boulevard, city officials hope traffic will begin to move smoother. The connecting road that leads to Food City and Lowe's and the road that connects to Gas and Go and Starbucks no longer allows people to drive left or straight through, with new signs changing the lanes to allow right exits only. City engineer Brad Sloan says eliminating drivers passing through oncoming traffic should help cut down on crashes and congestion in the area.
A relatively inexpensive solution was to do this for now, and then we're going to continue to look at different options for a long-term solution and see what we can do.
More efforts to promote a safer roadway are on the planner, but officials say this is a move in the right direction. When we return, does a new job scare you? Because research says it's often the other way around, with employees feeling left behind at the workplace.
And warmer weather is coming up. I'll tell you a little bit more in just a couple of minutes.